Hello and welcome back to the channel, to Kids Coding Playground. So today we will actually working on a not really a game, but working on a project that actually teach you some of the basic programming concept regarding loops, index, variable, and operation in Scratch during a variable. Basically, this project is that you click on this sprite here, Nano, and then he will ask you what is your name, and you can put in your name. Let's say we put in Kids Coding Playground. It will tell you like how many letters it has, how many vowel, and how many consonant it has. So it looks pretty easy, right? Because let's say we are looking at the name, we can count it up, right? But how will the computer know, right? So we have to get each letter in this word and actually compare it. So it's not that easy. I mean, it looks way easy, but I know that many kids struggling with this loop, index, and variable concept in Scratch. So let's take a look. So we will be actually learning these things today: loops, index, operators. So what are some of the operators we will be learning? Join, letter of, linked of, and something containing something. So this is a lot of I know a lot of game doesn't really require us to use these, but if you're doing some kind of manipulation with word and other word game, then you definitely need to use this. Okay, all right, so let's dive into it. I will show you guys how it actually works. I have one of the here, one of this game I created. So this is Nano. So if you click on him, he will ask you what is your name. Let's say, for instance, we'll put something easy. Let's say just say kids coding, right? For instance, so if I put in kids coding, you can tell that if I'm asking something, I answer something, it will go to the answer variable, right? So if I enter, it will tell me, okay, I have 10 letters, there's 3 vowel and 7 consonant. Let's count this up. Okay, so now let's count the letter. We just typed in kids coding, right? So let's count the letter: 1, 2, 3, 4. Not counting the space: 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 letters. And how many vowel we have? 1, 2, and 3. How many consonants we have? And we have 7, right? So how do we actually know how to do this using the program? How does the computer know, right, where to go through a loop and where to get each letter out from the answer and where to check it, right? So before we dive right into the coding, please like, share, subscribe to our channel, and give us some feedback if you like on the comment below. All right, so now let's get started. So how do we actually do this? So we have to understand that let's say I click on the a sprite, and let's say I add this, right? What is your name? I add it to my sprite. So this sprite will start talking, asking what's your name. So if you put some let's say Tom, right? So as you can see in this answer here, if we're going to show this answer, so you can see that Tom goes to the answer. So this is how you ask a question, right, from the sprite. I think everybody might have already know this. Okay, all right. So what do we need to do first? We need to, in order to get going through this variable here, we need to create some variable that will help us. So let's go to variable. So we need to know each letters, right? So what we can do is we're gonna create something called each letter. I'm using a camel case here, so it's easy to see. So you can see each letter. Okay, and what I also need is something called index. Index is a position in the word. So in Scratch, they always start at 1. So we'll have to remember for that. So different program, they start at 0, but for Scratch, the index starts at 1. So the index is the position in the loop. If we go into a loop, let's say we're looking for the word Tom, so index 1 will be T, right? Index 2 will be O, and index 3 will be M if we're going through a loop. Okay, so we have created these two variables. What else do we need? We need to know the number of consonant, right? Number of consonant. Okay, and we also want to know number of letter, right? So how many letters are there in the word? Okay, and we also need to know number of spaces there, in case they put a first name and last name. We don't want to count the spaces, right? Okay, and also number of vowel. So this is how many vowel they have, like A, B, C, D, E, F. Vowel. So how many vowel it has, like A, E, I, O, U, right? The vowel. Okay, we have these variable that will help us to keep track of the loop and looking at each letters in the loop, and we can compare them. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to import my sprite. I already created this Nano before for my other game, so I was just going to reuse him. Okay, so this Nano, I will also put a wooden tree stump. I had it before, so let me move it in the center. In this Nano, I want to put him in the front, so what we need to do is we have to say green flag is click. We want to move him to the front so that the Nano is standing on the tree. So oh, I put on the tree, I'm sorry. Let me put that over here. Delete that. I meant to put on Nano. Okay, I didn't copy it over. Let me try it again. Okay. And we'll go back to look. Okay, alright, so we can see Nano standing on the tree. Okay, we want lower background, maybe we'll actually search for one. Class. Okay, classroom. Okay, alright, so we have Nano here. What we want to do is we are going to starting to ask a question for him, right? So what we want to do is when we click on the sprite, so we want to ask a question. Okay, when the sprite is clicked, right? What do we want to do? So before we ask the question, we want to set the variable, what we want to do, right, for each of the variable. So for the index, we are going to set at 1. So remember, Scratch, the index is at 1, right? I mentioned earlier. Number of consonant, we're gonna go. So the number of consonant is 0. So we want to just initialize it, making sure that in the beginning everything is set to 0. Number of letter, I'm just going through the here. Number of spaces and number of vowel, right? So we have number of consonant, number of letters, number of spaces, and number of vowel. Okay, so we have everything reset when we click on this sprite. So every time we click on it, we'll reset all this. So what do we want to ask? So we're going to go back to this. We'll say, what is your name, right? So when we click on this sprite, it will ask you what's your name. As you can see, right, every time the user types something, the name will actually go to this variable called answer, which is default in Scratch, okay, to take the input from the user on the keyboard. So what we need to do is we have to go through the letter that the user typed in, right, to find out. So we will actually have to use some of these variable, these operation here. So let's take a look at some of the operation we'll be using today. So let's look at this and this and this. So let's try to understand some of these things, what this actually mean. So let's say if I click on this length of an apple, what do you think will happen? What will it look like? I will let you guys guess. You see, it's 5. So the length of apple is 5. Why is 5? There's 5 letters, right? A, P, P, L, E, 5. So what happens if I click this one? What do you think it will say? I'll let you guys guess. Okay, ready? Okay, click on it. It says A. What does A mean? This is the first letter of this word. So A as an apple, first letter is A. If I put 2 here, what do you think will happen? Actually I have what? P, right? P, because that's the second letter of this word. Okay, so now you understand the length, you understand the word, right? We can go through using the index, right? We have index. Using this index, we can go through this word and we can find out each letter what the user typed in. And let's check the last one, something called contain. So if I click on this, what do you think will happen? It will ask if this A is inside of apple, it will return what? True. So A is inside of apple. If I put B here, what happened? B is not inside apple, right? So it will return false, meaning B is not inside this word apple. So now you have a little bit understanding of these 3 operation here. For these variable we will be playing around with, so you can actually do this project. So let me throw this all away for now. Okay, so when we click on this, what is your name? What do you think we have to do? So what we need to do is we have to go through the name, right? Whatever the user typed in. Let's say type in Tom, we have to go through the loop how many times? 3 times, right? Because Tom has 3 letters, right? So let's say I put in Tom. So I need to go through the loop 3 times. So we can use this, we'll go to this, and there's something called repeat, right? Repeat number of times right here. Okay, this is 10 times. So what do we have to do? We have to get 3 times. So how do we get 3 times? So remember we were using this operator, the length, right? The length of apple is 5, right? So now what happened if I say the length of answer? What do you think I have? We'll have 3, right? Because Tom is 3. So what you do is you put in here. So that means it will repeat 3 times. So what I need next? Okay, did I have? Okay, each letter. So what I'm going to do is going to pick up each letter from this word Tom, and I'm going to check it. Okay, so if it's a is it a vowel or is it a consonant or whatever, or a space, right? So what we need to do is we say set each letter. So it's going through a loop one at a time. So the first letter of T, right? So what happened? So we want to get the first letter of this word. So what do we have to do? We'll go back to this, right? You remember this is letter of A, right? So what we want to do is we're gonna use the index, so we can increase the index to 1, 2, and 3. So since the index is start at 1, we know that 1 of apple is giving us an A. So 1 of answer is going to give us what? Tom, right? Tom. So duplicate this and put it here. So as you can see, T, 1 of answer is T, right? So T, first letter. Okay, so what we want to do is we do not want to put 1 because we want to change this, right? So what we want to do is we're going to use this index, put this index here. So now we understand that the letter index, which is 1 right now, and of the answer, which is T, Tom, right? T, the first letter, Tom. Okay, so what we want to do after that, we want to change the index by 1. So we will go to the second position, which is O. All right, So next time when the loop runs, it will pick up O as the second index. Okay, so let me put this look here. So when you guys do debugging, you can always put something in here that will help you to debug the code, right? So let's, for instance, I will want to say each letter here. So as you can see, we can actually say it each time. So let's go on again. We'll click on him, and we are going to say Tom. So what you see is you're gonna say T-O-M, right? So going through each letter in this loop is getting the first letter, which is T. Then it increase the index by 1, which is 2. So the next time it comes around, we'll pick up O. Then the last time it comes around, we'll pick up N, which is M, which is the last letter, right? So let's run it again. So if I click on this, let's say I put John, right? So it will go through, find J-O-H-N, right? So let's put enter. So J-O-H-N. So you can see that each time you say this letter for 1 second. So now we understand how the loop is working, correct? Okay, so what we need to do is we have to check if this letter is belong to the a vowel, right? So what we're gonna do is make it simple. Is like if it's not a vowel, we will count it as a consonant. Okay. Okay. So what we need to do is we're gonna go to the if condition here. Okay. So we are going to use something called contain. You remember we're using something contain. So what we can do is we're gonna put in the vowel A, capital A, lowercase a, in case they put capital E, lowercase e, right? A-E-I, lowercase I, O, capital O, lowercase o, U. Okay, so what we want to say is if A-E-I-O-U, so this is containing this, each letter, right? So we'll drag each letter in here. So if A-E-I-O-U contain this letter, then what we know that it is a vowel, right? Number vowel. So number vowel will be increased by 1. So now if we run this again, when it go through, it will check each letter, and you can see the index moving, and you can see each letter moving, and then you can see that number of vowel will increase. So let's try again. I'll put Tom in, right? Short name. So as you can see, it say okay, he's moving to the index. He found that there's number of vowel is 1 vowel because O is in the middle, right? So only 1 vowel. Okay, so now we have 1 vowel. Also, we don't want to count the spaces, right? Let's say there's some spaces in between the word. There's a Tom, and then let's say Tom Sawyer or Tom whatever, right? His last name. Then we don't need to count the spaces in between if the player put in the spaces, right? So we will also do this if condition again, right? What we're going to check this time, we are going to put 1 space here, and if that sorry, not this same condition. Sorry, I was incorrect. So we're going to use this condition. So we will put 1 space, and we can say each letter. So if it's a space equal to the letter, then we will say number of space change by 1, so increasing the space. So let's try kids coding. So you can see that, okay, it says number of space is 1, right? Number of vowel is 3, so I, O, and I, right? That's 3. So now we have number of vowel and number of spaces, right? So he knows that space is 1. So what we can do is this. We were going to set the number of letters. How do we know number of letter? So we will say set. After we do all the loop, right? We know everything now, right? So what we say is number of letters is equal to what? you remember we have something called length of, right? So what we can do is say length of the answer, right? So length of the answer is what? If we click on this, you see it's 11, right? This is because it's K, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, including the space in the middle, right? So what we want to do, we're going to subtract the space, right? So then we'll know how many letters they are, right? So we'll say using this operator, we have the subtract here. So number of letter is equal to the length of this answer minus number of spaces, right? So number of spaces here. So now you know how many letters there are. So if I run this again, I'm going to put in, let's say Tom, right? So he'll know that, okay, that's 6 letters, right? Tom, T-O-M, T-O-M, Tom, 6 letters. How many spaces? 1 spaces. How many vowel? 2 vowel, right? So we already know that number of letter, number of vowel. And how do we find the number of consonant? What do you guys think? I'll let you guys take a moment to think about that. So number of letter is, number of consonant is, so the number of letter minus the number of vowel, right? Okay, so we can do that. So we already know, right? So say go back over here, we'll select, so number of letter minus the number of vowel, right? Then we know the number of consonant. So let's try it again. So we'll go Tom again. So as you can see, so these are the loop that's going through, right? The loop, don't worry about that. So we're already going through that, the loop right going through each time. So now you can see the number of consonant is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 number of letter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number of spaces 1. Number of vowel 2. Right. So this is for making it simple. Is just we just think that okay, the user gonna put in the name, but they could put in a number, right? The number is not a alphabet letter, right? We didn't have that check here. So if you want to do that, you could put another check with a number. But for simplicity's sake, we're gonna just assume that the user gonna put in the first name, last name. We're gonna check how many letters and how many vowel and how many consonants are there. So this is pretty much it. So now we'll finish up the project by adding something for the Nano to say, like your name has a number of letter, number of vowel, and number of consonant. Okay, so let's go back to look here, and you can drag this in. We also need to use something say join, because we actually have to join more than one thing. We actually have to use 2 join. What we're going to do in the first one is your name has, and we'll put a little space here because we want to put a number here, right? Okay, we'll go back to the variable. We'll say number of letter. We'll start with that, and then we'll put a little space here again, 1 space, and then set letters. Okay, all right. What we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this 1 time and then another time. So this one will remove this. We'll go with the number of vowel. So okay, we'll add vowel, and the last one was that consonant. Okay, so this is a consonant. Okay, that's the last part. I will remove this. We'll add the number of consonant here. Okay, all right. So what we need to do is, I should have done the other way, but okay, we have everything ready. We'll drop it in here, and drop it in here, and drop it in here. Okay, now let's test our game. one time. We'll save it, we'll stop it, we'll start again. Okay, we'll click on him. We'll ask what's your name. Let's say we'll put John Doe. Okay, it has 7 letters, 3 vowel, and 4 consonant. As you can see, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, not including the space. 4, 5, 6, 7 letter. 1, 2, 3, 4 consonant, and 1, 2, 3, 3 vowel. That's correct, right? So that's pretty much everything the game is. So please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much. See you guys next time. Bye bye.